Hey guys, in today's video, we're checking out an app that uses AI to isolate vocals and instrument stems from a song. So you can input a song and this program will pull out individual stems such as vocals, drums, bass, guitar, piano, and even more than that. So this is LALAL.AI, and I actually reviewed them for about 2 years ago on the channel. However, since that video came out, they've done a bunch of updates to this, and they have even more stems and instruments that you can pull out of a song. You are now able to get out 8 different stems or instruments out of a song, which is really impressive and the most that I've seen in any software or app that can do something like this. 8 different stems is pretty crazy. So you are able to get vocals.
Everything that I say, tuck a knife with my heart up my sleeve and change like a.
You can get drums. You can get bass. Piano. Electric or acoustic guitar. Synth. You can get strings. And even woodwinds and horns. Pretty impressive, and I tried it out with about 100 different songs. And like I said, I'm pretty impressed with what it's able to do. I want to thank LALAL.AI for sponsoring this video. However, just like always, all the opinions in this video are my own. And if you want to check this out for yourself, you can use the links down below in the description. This is pretty helpful for isolating parts of a song if you do want to practice a song, if you want to remix a song, or if you just really want to hear what's going on with a song. You're able to bring out some of those instruments a little bit more. I am going to have to do some short snippets in this video to try to avoid copyright strike. I'm also going to avoid older artists for the most part because older artists seem to get the most upset. Watch Rick Beato's videos if you're unfamiliar with all of his struggles with copyrights and blocking and all that stuff. There's definitely going to be no Eagles on this list, I can tell you that much. So with that said, let's check this thing out. So there is an app and there's also a website version, and they both work very similar. So use the link in the description to get to LALAL.AI, and you can either use the one on the website or you can download the app from the App Store or the Google Play Store. They also have apps for Windows or Mac as well. So for the desktop version, choose which of the stems you want to extract from it. You can see all of them here, and then just drag the file in and it'll start to do it. On the app, just click Split Files, and you can choose from your library or your music, drop the song in, and then choose which stem you want to extract, and then hit Start Processing. In either option, it will give you a 1-minute preview. And if you do want to process the entire song, you would choose that you want to process the entire song. You do get 10 minutes for free right off the bat, and if you want more, you pay for certain minutes. And I'll address pricing here in a little bit, but let's hear some of the examples first. So for vocals, it definitely worked incredibly well with almost everything I threw at it. From pop to metal, jazz, everything. It's able to pull out the vocals really well and leave a pretty solid instrumental version. Definitely impressed with what it did. So here's a pop song.
You think I'm pretty without any makeup on.
And it doesn't matter if it's the soft verse or the big chorus, it still did a great job.
You make me. Hey, you turn me on.
Here's their Nirvana song on the app.
Kids for food.
And you can hear it even got the vocal harmonies. So the app works really well. It's just the website version. It's easier to switch between the version with the stem and without the stem. So for the rest of the video, I'm just going to use the website.
I saw the sun. I don't know. I left you by the house of fun. Heart is drenched in
It'll even pull out dialogue and speaking parts.
Go ahead.
At least I think it was the woods. I wasn't really sure.
I didn't know where it was, but it was so cold.
It even did a pretty good job with metal music, you know, growling and screaming and stuff like that. It was able to isolate that as well. And by far, my favorite test I did on this app was this right here.
And I like socks. I like socks. I'm a dog. I'm a dog and I like socks. I like socks. I'm a dog. Pick up the sock. Then throw the sock. I'll get the sock. Pick up the sock. Then throw the sock. I'll catch the sock. Then bring back the sock. Pick up the sock.
Almost everything I threw at it for vocals, it did a really good job. The only time that it had a little bit of trouble with it, it was when there was a lot of effects on the vocals. So especially if it had like a megaphone type of effect, it would kind of struggle with that a tiny bit, like it did with this song. Some synths that sound like vocals, it would also kind of grab those as well.
I could take you for a ride. I had a premonition that we fell into. You're my starlight, I need you. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating you.
But at the same time, it grabbed this vocal effect with no problem. All right, next up was drums. And again, drums, it worked incredibly well as well with rock or metal to jazz or pop or, you know, even electronic type of drums like industrial or pop music. It did a really good job.
This precious woman, not choosing to be here.
And it's not just acoustic drums, it handled electronic drums well too.
Cruising down the hard-shaped highway, God just swerving.
It even handled big electronic industrial 9-inch nails drums. It did a great job with jazz drumming too.
Oh my God, Becky. Look at her butt.
And of course, here's a metal example. So it handled the drums pretty well too. The only thing it would kind of grab is kind of like the cymbals would get a little bit of that washy type of sound. But even then, it's still pretty impressive that it's able to pull all of those instruments out. It's pretty wild that it's able to do that. Okay, so for bass, it did a great job isolating bass as well. I definitely found that it was able to extract a lot of it if the bass was kind of doing its own thing. It could be acoustic bass or stand-up bass or electronic bass. But if there's a really clear bass line, it was able to pull that out a little bit better. If it blends with the guitar, you know, it's just playing what the guitar is playing just an octave lower, like in rock and metal, it has a little bit of trouble pulling that out as well, but it still does actually a really good job. And you'll see what I mean. So the bass by itself can sound a little bit weird, but it's wild how the song actually sounds like it has no bass. handled electronic bass with no problem.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your... Before, jaws all on the floor like Pam, like Tommy just burst in the door and started whooping a rat.
And it did great with jazz. So when the bass is meant to blend with the guitar, that's kind of the sound of, rock and metal and stuff like that. So when you pull it out and you isolate it by itself, it does sound a little bit weird by itself. But when you listen to the song without the bass, pretty impressive that it's able to do that. And they still leave in, the kick drum. It's not just like they've shelved out everything below a certain frequency. They pulled out the bass but left the kick drum. That's pretty impressive that's able to do that, especially as a bass player who wants to create a practice track. This is pretty cool. Next up is piano. And with piano, it is actually probably one of the best results that I got along with vocals, which is surprising because I thought piano would be one of the toughest ones to extract. But this one did really well with almost everything that I threw at it.
Past the chillest towers, past my window.
Listen to how well it pulls out this lead piano line.
To the valley below.
It's kinda hard being Snoop D-O double G, but I somehow, some way living room getting it on.
This one was pretty impressive and one of my favorite bands. So now we get to electric and acoustic guitars. This is where it starts to struggle a little bit, but at the same time, it still actually works really well. When it pulls out the guitars from like a big mix, it does sound a little warbly and a little thin. But again, you can listen to the song without the guitars in most situations.
It's all so crazy. Everybody seems so famous. My tummy's turning and I'm feeling kind of home.
Ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was, hey now. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid.
Pick up the sock, then throw the sock. I'll catch the sock and bring back the sock. Then throw the sock. I'll catch the sock, then bring back the sock. Pick up the sock, then throw the sock. I'll catch the sock.
Thought I'd die alone. I laughed the loudest. Who'd have known? To the wall.
Here's one that was kind of, it was okay.
I got whiskey, women, music, and smoke. I got a good job, I work hard. Hit the door running.
But did a great job with the ska song.
She called me late last night, say she loved me so. Didn't matter anymore. I say she never.
So I do find that listening to the song minus the guitar is more impressive than the guitar isolated by itself. However, you're still able to hear what the guitar is doing in those tracks, so that might be helpful for trying to figure out a song by ear or something like that. And if you have a song where something is dominating, you know, the frequency is kind of hogging the frequencies or something like that, and you take it out, of course, the rest of the song is going to sound thin. But like I said, this works really well, and it sounds like, you know, the bass and the drums and the vocals are still going with the song while the guitar is out. It's pretty wild. So with the acoustic guitar, it did work really well. It does seem to do a better job removing the acoustic guitar when it's prominent in the mix, like this Radiohead song. But when the acoustic is tucked back a little bit more, which the acoustic oftentimes generally is kind of tucked in the mix, and you just kind of hear that nice strumming that adds to the mix. Again, depends on the song. That's where it's a little bit of trouble to pull it out and hear it by itself, especially the stems.
And turn the lights down low and put some music. Baby, we ain't got no place to go. I hope you
can turn up and down the volume with these sliders over here. Here's a song where the acoustic is much more prominent in the mix. Here's a finger-picking one I did with my old band, and it did a pretty good job.
Of haste and no grace has become too far for me to. Who are you to think? Who are you to stain me?
When you listen back, it does kind of sound like, okay, well, the acoustic guitar is not in the mix anymore. It does kind of just have that warble where it does sound like there's some just weird frequency cuts happening sometimes. Again, it's not perfect, but it is impressive for what it's able to do. Okay, so for the last three, synth, string, and winds, these are all labeled as beta, just FYI, as of time of shooting. Synth is where I found it struggled the most, and that should be no surprise because synthesizer can be so many different things. There can be pads, it could be a lead. There's so many different styles that could fall into synth. So this is where it struggled probably the most. So before we get to the last three, I did want to mention pricing here really quick because they are doing a 50% off Christmas sale that goes until December 27th. So again, you pay for the minutes. So you can buy the light pack for $18, which will give you 90 minutes. These are just one-time fees. The Pro pack will give you 500 minutes plus a bonus 50 minutes for $35 right now. Again, that's on sale until December 27th. And they also have the Plus pack where you can get 300 minutes plus a bonus 30 minutes for just $25. There will be links down below to check this out. If you do use those links down below, it is an affiliate link. It does help me out and help out the channel at no extra cost to you. So if this is something you're interested in, using those links is a free way to support the channel, and I would appreciate it. And they also do have a referral program where if you refer someone to the website, you get some free minutes yourself as well. There will be links for that available in the description as well. Also, don't forget to check out the LALAL.AI YouTube channel. You can find links up above and down below if you want to check out their YouTube channel as well, because they have some good info on there. All right, back to the video. I did find that if there was a wall of sound, you know, some of those really big, just wall of sound type of music, that's where it struggled to pull out the synth specifically by itself. It was able to do it sometimes though. This one was impressive.
Cutting through the darkness, bouncing off the walls between following a blood trail, frothing out the moor.
I thought this one was really good. There were a few times that I just missed it completely. I thought in this car song, I was like, oh, this will be a really easy one for it to grab the synth, but it failed completely. And And I tried doing that with setting it to strings or wind as well to see if it would pull out that line, but it didn't. So it didn't find that one. That was probably the biggest failure in my opinion with doing these tests, because I thought that one would be a pretty easy one. Oh, that's obviously a synth, it's going to grab that. But it didn't on that one. Strings weren't bad, they were definitely better than the synth. It definitely helped when the strings were more prominent in the mix, as opposed to that wall of sound that I mentioned. If there's a very specific string line that you can hear, it's able to pull that out a lot easier. And that, again, seems to be true for most of this. That is generally what I found. Wall of sound stuff, it has a tougher time isolating. But if you have very specific instruments doing their own things that sit well in a mix, then it usually does a better job of extracting that part. But again, I was pretty impressed with the strings.
Let it shine, just
It did fail a few times. Sometimes I thought it was going to be pretty obvious that it would be able to catch this, but it didn't catch it at all.
I'm sure you've heard it all before, but you never really had it down.
I play in a 90s cover band. That's enough for that song. Not perfect, but again, still quite impressive that you have this many instruments that you can pull out of a mix. To me, wind was the most interesting and actually worked really well a lot of the time. Wind would kind of apply to horns as well. I didn't really know of too many songs that had woodwinds in it, at least looking through my library, but it applied a lot to horns as well. Like I said, looking through my music, I didn't really find a whole lot that had woodwinds in it. However, one of my songs, of course, I'm going to promote one of my songs, shameless self-promotion. Check out the music video I did for it. But there is a very specific flute line that I had in there, and it is very separate from the rest of the mix. And this actually did a really good job pulling out that flute sound. This is really impressive. I know some people with this type of software, they get really upset if it's not 100% a perfect isolation of the acoustic guitar or something like that. You got to think about what this is doing. You're taking a song, a fully mixed song, putting it into this thing, and it spits out an isolation of those tracks or removes that instrument from it together. It's quite impressive. Vocals and drums and piano, I think it did the best. It does a pretty good job with horns as well. The synth and the strings, it definitely struggles with a little bit. Guitar and acoustic guitar were pretty decent. It would struggle, it just depends on the mix. It is really impressive that it's able to do that. Even if it's not perfect, I'm excited to see how this turns out even more in the future. When I did that first video of LALAL.AI, they only had 2 separations, just vocals and instruments. And now they have 8 separate things that they can isolate. I can only imagine how cool this is going to be in a couple of years. So many thanks to LALAL.AI for sponsoring this video and let me check this out. Really cool software. And again, if you are interested in checking this out for yourself, there are links down below in the description. If you do decide that this is something that's right for you, using those links down below is a free way to support the channel and no extra cost to you. So I would appreciate that. So if you're interested, I have a whole playlist of different apps that relate to musicians, so you can check that out. And also you can check out my latest video by clicking the links on your screen now. Thank you guys again for watching. If you guys have any other cool gear or app recommendations for musicians, please leave them as a comment down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at ScottYuleMusic. Many thanks to LALAL.AI for letting me check out this software. It's very cool. Thank you guys again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.